welcome to Tell It Like It Is on UVC Radio. This is the sound that binds us together. Broadcasting live on the World Wide Web on www.unitedvisionconnect.org/radio. Our numbers are 646-281-5703. And also, you guys can definitely check us out if you have an Amazon Echo Smart Speaker. You got to say enable UVC Radio. You guys can catch us in Simple Radio, Live 365 in the US, UK, Canada, and Mexico. This is your favorite program. Trust that each and every one of you had a blessed and wonderful weekend. So without further ado, let me get my co-host, Wise Willy in the land of wood and water, Kingston, Jamaica, of course. Take it away, Willy.
Listeners, good to be back with you. It's been a nice and quiet week, pretty hot, but nevertheless, we are enjoying the days. King Rocco, how has it been for you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. How was
Yeah,
it
awesome.
been
Sorry
for
about that.
you?
Yeah, I can't say it was bad. Kind of bit, quite a few stuff to do. Let's put it this way, quite a few stuff to do. But I mean, I'm getting there. Today, it has been a very, very, very long day today. Literally was like on the road, literally almost all day today. But to God be the glory, everything able to achieve whatever I have to achieve and stuff like that. But the weather as well, it has been quite humid. When I look at the temperature today, it was like somewhere within like 83 degrees, maybe like 26 or 27. Very, very hot today.
Mm, it's really warming up for the summer, and it promises to be a very hot summer.
Well,
Because
I heard
when
the
you
scientists have said this year is not going to be hot like 24 and 23, but the heat is on.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes. And we have a very special guest
Yes,
in
indeed.
the studio today. She is um, an individual that we have been hearing quite a lot from in recent days. She's no
Also, on UVC
stranger to
Radio.
UVC Radio,
Not at all.
and she has been doing the Health Nuggets on a Monday.
100%.
Yes, and she has a YouTube program called Monday Meds, and she has, as a matter of fact, she has an entire ministry of
Yes, indeed.
counseling and providing health services and all of that. And we thought we would talk to her and find out a little bit more from her and what makes her click. Tanisha, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, King Rocco, and Wise Willy and King Rocco. Thank you for having me.
It doesn't
Yes,
matter
indeed.
who comes first. It, it, it,
Right.
it doesn't matter. It's UVC that counts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, gosh.
It,
Yes,
it's so easy, even though Wise Willy, I connected with you first, but
yes, yes.
it's so easy to say King Rocco because we've been talking every week
I
when
know, I
when we're
know, I
we're
know,
working on the
I know.
features for the
Whereas,
radio
Well,
program.
well,
whereas
you know what?
I, I,
I'm also the RB behind this machine right now. So without, without me running the program can't be on right now. So I'm the producer.
Thank you. And thank you, Wise Willy, for understanding that.
oh yes, that's no problem to me.
Okay. Yes, indeed.
Um,
And thank you
and
so much for inviting me, King Rocco. I know it's a while we are to have this interview, and now is the time. So thank you so much.
That is it. You're
well,
most welcome, Tanisha.
I'm happy it has materialized
Yes.
because, I think you have a wealth of information to share with us. But I want to start at the very beginning. Um, where did you go to school?
Well, that's a great question. And when you talked about childhood, I was like, wow, that's way back. But I started my schooling at a church. It's actually a house church school in Grand Spain,
Mm,
Kingston, Jamaica. And so that's where I learned to write. And I can remember I can remember the teacher at the time. She was the owner of the place. I don't even remember her name because it's been so long, but I remember her holding my hands and she taught me how to write. And it's a church, it's a house church school that is called Poco Jump School. If
Okay.
many of, I don't know any of the listeners that knew of that right now, but yes, so that's where I started um, pre-K school, basic school, and then I went on to New Day All Age, which is now New Day Primary
Mm-hmm.
and junior high. And yes, and then I did the common entrance back in the days. And
Yes, those
yes,
days.
back way back in the days. And then I passed to, at least I did common entrance twice.
Mhm.
And because of my age when I entered primary school, I actually had three chances. And the first chance, I didn't get a placement. And I really wanted to go to this school that we're Thai. And
Mm.
and so I was looking at the Queen's High School. That was one of my first choice. And the second time around, I actually did not choose. I don't remember if I chose Queen's, but I still wanted the tie, the necktie, to wear the necktie. So
Did you get your
I
longing?
didn't. I
You
didn't.
didn't?
I never got to wear tie, not even
Oh
in sixth
my.
form. So I
Yeah.
went on, I passed for Merle Grove. And it
Mm.
is since I'm an adult now, I realize that the grading system for Merle Grove and
Mm.
Queens, Merle Grove
Yes.
has a higher pass rate and our grading. So
Mm.
I did better at common entrance to be placed
And
at
maybe
Merle Grove.
all things work together for good. Maybe you perform better going to Merle Grove than if you had
I
gone to
believe
Queens.
I believe so. I believe
Yeah.
so. And when I reflected as an adult reflecting, as a child you didn't see something, but as an
Yes.
adult, I reflected. I really wanted to go to Queens for the Thai and
Mm.
also for the swimming pool.
Okay. Those were fascinating things. But tell me,
Yes.
what about your your attitude towards work? Were you a bookworm or you engaged in sports along with studying when you were at school?
Well, I wasn't a bookworm, but my teachers, and it's good when you can look back on your reports
Mm.
um, from childhood. I would always remember my teacher. Remember my teachers saying that I was tenacious, and I was like, okay, that's like rhyme with Tanisha. I was
So you
so
like
I was
that?
Yes, I love that. And but they would one thing they would caution or they would write up about is that I would be talking in class. And as for parents out there who have children who talk in class or
Oh, it's
talk back,
upsetting to parents.
it is upsetting, but it's one of the gifts that your child have that
Yes.
is preparing them for the future, and you just have to know how to channel it. So that was part of it. I did do well in school. Um, as a child, I did well in school. I did also participate in sports. I usually love athletics, so I love to run. And one of my heroes as a child and even as an adult is Merlin
Mm.
Ottey.
Ah,
The
yes.
bronze, they call her the bronze medalist, but in
Yes.
in my eyes, she's the gold medalist. And
Yes.
yes, I always,
A determined lady.
yes, and I always admired her from childhood. And yeah, so I did some athletics, especially towards sports day. I would participate in athletics. I did try long jump and all of that. But and the hurdles, that was one of the hardest. So I never played with it because
Okay.
I always feared falling over those things.
What was Tanisha like as a child? Were you quiet or were you a busybody child? What were you like?
Well, my husband reminds me that I was not a quiet child because he knew me before. We grew up in the same church, so he knew me as a child or a
Okay.
young child. So, but
That is amazing.
I was always inquisitive in finding out what's happening. I yes, like I said, I would be talking and involving, like interacting with people.
Hmm.
um, I get that from my mom. She's very sociable and people loving, you know. So I would always be interacting with people. So as a child, I was friendly. Um, one relative said that I was bare faced. I was I was dry eyed,
Mm.
so to speak, because I would just look straight in the eyes. You know, when some children would look away,
You're not
especially in our
flinching. In
culture.
other words, you're not flinching.
Yes, so I was fearless, and
Mm.
even walking at night is, at least growing up as a teenager, and even now I don't fear walking at night, even though I'm more cautious now as an adult. But as a child, I was fearless. I was fearless.
Mhm. All right, we're going to take a short break at this point. When we come back, I want to hear about your growing up now. Your childhood days are over, and your high school days are over, and you were doing advanced studies. What was it like? Can give us a little preview into that aspect of your life. You're listening to UVC Radio, the sound that binds us together. I want to know a little bit now about your days after school. What did you do when you left school? You know, it's always an experience where people are so sometimes worried as to what they're going to do. What did you do?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. So after leaving Merle Grove High School, the Merle Grove High School, I um, I actually wasn't sure of what I wanted to do, because after you've studied, especially as a teenager, you need fund further to
Mm-hmm.
study, and
Mm-hmm.
so I knew I wanted. So while I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be a business woman. And as you talk about my childhood, I used to help my mom with her street side or roadside business. And I remember that I did business in high school. And so I chose the business subjects. And when I left high school, I was like, okay, I wanted to be an accountant. While I was in high school, I said, okay, I want to be an accountant. But the first job I got a job with the bookstore at the East Jamaica Conference of Seventh Day Adventists. And shout out to all my church family there and all over the world. And I worked in the bookstore as assistant to the accountant, and I realized that I wasn't the figures person per se or the books person. And so my first job taught me that I wanted to be more than just dealing with books. So I realized that I am more of a people person. And while I was in high school, I wanted to be a guidance counselor because I wanted to help to guide students towards their career path because I didn't feel like I was guided enough. And so after working, I worked on the heart as a heart trainee on the heart training program. And so that gave me an opportunity to work on the job, or to work and be paid,
Mm-hmm.
to learn and work on the job. Sorry, to learn and also be paid for learning through the
Yes.
Heart NSTA.
Yeah.
At that time it was our Heart NTA.
Heart NTA,
Yes, and
National Training Agency. Yeah.
I really admire how the program has developed over the years, that, Heart NSTA now have basically like a university or a college. And
Hmm.
so that's where I started um, with my career in terms of going after. So I decided I wanted to go to Northern Caribbean University and to be a guidance counselor. So that's when I went off to study to be a guidance counselor.
What was the experience like in at Northern Caribbean University? Here you are leaving school, worked for a while, but you now find yourself in the university at a whole different ball game. What was it like?
Well, it was a challenging experience, to tell it like it is. And I remember when I was going off to university, I didn't have all the tuition, but I'm a determined person and I knew that I needed to go for a better life. So I left Kingston, went to Northern Caribbean University, which, Willie, that is in Manchester, that is in Mandeville.
Yes,
And
yes.
so that's about that's actually three parishes or states, those who know, states away from Kingston. And it's the more rural part, or semi-rural part of um
It's
Mandeville or
it's a it's a
Manchester.
good mix, eh? Because the university is near the town, isn't it?
Right. So it's a few minutes from the town. And
Yes.
so when I went, I didn't really know what to expect. But I remember, and I give this joke all the time. I remember, well, the taxi when I went, so I went there to pick up my acceptance letter. And I remember when the taxi was approaching the hill, because it's the beacon on the hill, as NCU is called. And I remember I saw the sign, "Welcome to Northern Caribbean University." I said to the taxi, "Let me off, let me off."
Because
I,
you were so elated.
yes, I was so anxious to get on campus. And
Yes,
so, my husband would remind me of that from time to time, that
yes.
I thought I was there. And so, going through there, though, I did work and study. And I remember my first job, and this really gets me ticking. My
Mm.
first job was working in custodial services, and I was responsible for cleaning the bathrooms. Yes. And
Mm.
I remember that there were some very unwelcoming sights um,
Yes.
in the bathroom or in the toilet.
Mm.
But one of the things I aimed to do was to make sure that I never left it the same way
Yes.
I saw it. And so I saw it messy and I made sure that I cleaned it. And I always admired people who worked in the office, like student workers. And would you believe it? Before I left NCU, about 2 years before I left Northern Caribbean University, I had the opportunity to work in the office and to see, coming from the pit, as you would
Mm-hmm.
say, in the toilet,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
And
going to,
you're moving up in
yes.
life.
Yes. So I worked in two offices, two main
Two
offices.
main
One of
offices. Mm.
those is the student finance office. That office you have to go through to make sure your tuition is paid and all of that. So
Yes.
I got to interact with almost everyone and every student in the university. And so yeah, I've started as filing, and so that's where my business skills came in. I started as a filing clerk. That was to be like a month's work, but filing never take a month, never can take a month. So it's interesting how God leads you. And so yeah, I appreciate my time there at NCU. I love the beacon on the hill. the hill, and it has helped me to be a better person spiritually. And when I look back on my life there, I know it helped me to be the woman I am today.
Well, you've been fortunate because you started out at Merle Grove, which is a Christian-based institution, and then you moved through to working in a bookstore with a Christian organization, and then to NCU. So you are being prepared.
Yes, you're right. And as you talk about Merle Grove, yes, Merle Grove is a Christian-based
I know
school.
that.
The church is the Rehoboth Church, and I
Mm.
always remember. And shout out to all my fellow, my past students, fellow Merle Grovians who are listening. I know some of them from my class are listening. So
Yes.
I remember Dr. Garth, Peter
Dr.
Garth.
Peter Garth. Mhm.
Yes, at the time he was reverend, but he has elevated to
Oh, he did
doctor.
his doctorate. Yes.
Yes, and
Mm.
he would be your chaplain, and I do remember
I
him.
think he still is the chaplain.
I believe so. I believe
Mhm.
so. I haven't
Mhm.
been to chapel in a while, but yes, I did get that spiritual background back in there at Merle Grove also, that helped me to choose a Christian base. And being a Seventh Day Adventist also, I wanted that I wanted that Adventist Christian based education.
You know, it's very interesting. So your family in those days were also Adventists. So you grew up in Adventist surroundings, or
So yes, my home church is the Shortwood Seventh Day Adventist Church, and shout out to all my fellow Shortwoodites who are listening.
yes.
Yes, so that's in Grand Span. So
Mhm.
but basically, when you live in a community, your school and your church is is in close proximity.
Oh
So yes,
yes.
so
So
yes,
you walk from home to church and from home to school.
yes. It's
Mm.
just that home was farther away from church. So yes, my family, they're seven, most of them are Seventh-day Adventists, my aunts and uncles. My mom, she grew up, she was in the Seventh-day Adventist church up until when I was born or before I was born. She had me out of wedlock, and you know how that can be,
Yes.
the shame that's attached to a person not being married. And so um, it was a
Not anymore.
challenging
Not
time
anymore. In your growing up days, yes, but not anymore.
then. Yes,
Yes.
there's some shame to it still, but the church has embraced more, is it more embraced in women with love. And so it is changing, that we're accepting people as individuals, and that children are a gift from God despite whatever the avenue that they come. And so yes, my mom had it challenging. My father, I know him, but he wasn't there as he really should have been. And so my mom really was the one who pushed me. And I remember she would always send me to church. So I have many adopted moms, and one of them is Mrs. Shirley Nooks. She would always send me with Sister Nooks to church, and also Sister Hyatt. And so I am blessed to have many second or
Yes. You have
adopted
you have
moms.
you have you have several moms.
I do, I do, I do,
Yes.
I do.
All right.
And
In
shout
the
out
in
to
the
all my second moms out
yes.
there. I love
In
you.
during the break, you were telling me a very intriguing, or you started to tell me a very intriguing story. How you grew up with your husband, and um, what, how did you become real good friends?
This is
All
quite
right. So I
interesting to
know.
hear about.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Yes.
Okay.
No, no, I'm
So
just saying this
yes.
is quite interesting to hear about.
Oh, yes, King Rocco, because we never discussed that part.
Not at all.
but
Not at
but
all.
It's good that I get to share like this. So yes, so we grew up in the same church at the Short of Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Mm.
And so I did say I went off to university, the Northern Caribbean University. And shout out to all the NCUites and family there at NCU. So yes, I went off to university, and then I graduated and came back to Kingston, or went back to Kingston. And I remember while I was in university, so my husband, or David, at the time, my church brother, he would, from time to time, he would express interest. And I remember so I would visit home, periodically on weekends or every other weekend, and I would see him at church. And so at first I wasn't interested. And I remember saying to him that, you know, we can only be friends. And I was very blunt. As I told you, I was fearless as a child. So I would just tell it as it is. And it's interesting
Yes.
that we're on this program now,
Mm.
because I would tell him as it is. At the time, I was dating someone that I thought that, we would get married. And so I told David, I told him, I said, we can only be friends. And, I just shut him down right there. And,
Hmm.
but he would, and as he would tell you, he always respect a woman's decision.
But I get the
And so
feeling he was respectful but persistent.
he was, but he accepted that, and
Hmm.
he never tried to pursue me as much, but he allowed the friendship to grow. And so the time came when I didn't find work in Jamaica.
Before
And
that, did both of you go to Pathfinders together?
no, so we have like a decade between us in age, so we never had pathfinders together and all
Together,
of that.
okay,
But
okay.
I remember we had beach trip. We had a beach trip,
Yeah.
and I had invited. I thought he would have been there, and he never came, which would have been an opportunity for us to know each other on a
Mm,
more sociable level than
mm.
on at church. But he was more work oriented, so he missed that opportunity. So the time came though when I got a job overseas, and so I migrated to the U.S. And but
What
we
did
had
you do? What did you do there when you got to the US? What was the job
okay,
like?
so I went there to work with individuals with disabilities. And it's interesting that we connected this way last year, because I know many of our listeners have visual impairment or blind. And I did work with individuals who are blind, along with people with mental retardation and, anxiety disorders and other forms of
Right, right.
disabilities. Right.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so I worked there for over 7 years. And but before that, I was on a visa. So at the time,
You couldn't stay.
right. So it was a J1 visa, and so it was for 18 months, and then I had to return home to Jamaica. And so in between that time, the friendship, David and I's friendship developed further. As I said, he accepted that we can only be friends. However, we had
So he
exchanged
didn't go
telephone
to the
numbers.
United States. He didn't pursue you to the United States.
He didn't at that time. No, he didn't.
King David, he
So
got a lot of patience, man.
King David, I tell you, is better than the original King David.
Because the other David, man, he wasn't making sport.
that's a good one, was Willy. So, so yes, we developed our friendship over the internet, actually. And at the time, Yahoo Messenger was there where you had those
Yeah, yeah.
audibles.
Mm.
Yeah, so we make fun of ourselves sometimes. We'll be like, hello, hello, anybody there? Echo, because the audibles there have different audibles. So yes, but we got a chance to develop our friendship long distance. And so in the time when in that gap when I was waiting for my work permit to transfer to the next, my visa or work permit, I was here in Jamaica, and God brought me on a journey where I was seeking Him, and asking Him, who should I? Because there were more than one men that were interested in me at the time, and so I was on a journey of prayer and just seeking God and asking Him to search the heart of these men. And I remember specifically, asking God to search David's heart, and there's a quotation that I love that I don't remember who wrote it, but the one who made the two hearts is the best one to bring them together.
Mhm.
And so I trusted God that He would bring us together if it is His will, or if it was His will. And so I went back to the US. The time came so I was in Jamaica for 5 months and 5 days. And yes, I counted it.
You
And
counted it, yes.
yes, and I remember while I was on the walkway, the walkway there going to the airplane. I remember that I heard the voice of God saying, "Remember David." Now, I knew the voice of God before while I was at NCU, and so I knew that quiet voice while I was leaving Jamaica to the US. I remember David. And I was just repeating it to myself, remember David, remember David. And so I left Jamaica with that word. And I watched our friendship developed into more than just friends. And then so it was on Valentine's Day, um, the following year, I believe it was, that we decided that we will pursue being more than just friends, but going into looking at the direction of marriage.
You know, they say that true friendship is a plant of slow growth. And this is a typical example. I think this is a good point to take a station break because that has been a very juicy story.
Yes,
Very,
indeed.
yes.
Thank
Yes,
We'll
you.
take
indeed.
we'll take a station break, do some business, and when we come back, I want to hear about your ministry and what it entails. Listeners, you are listening to UVC Radio, the sound that binds us together.
Yes, indeed. That's what friends are for. That's the voice of DN Warwick. Anyway, in the meantime, between time we get back to Studio 2 with my co-host Wise Willy and our special guest, Miss Tanisha Lawrence.
Listeners, we're back with you, and our guest is still with us. And Tanisha, we want now to hear from you about your ministry. What what led you into the ministry of where you talked about counseling, but what led you into the ministry of health education? Because that's what it is.
Yes, that's what it is. And so as you talk about my counseling background, I always loved sharing with health tips with people. I can remember from childhood, I would be I would be counseling my father. I remember there are times he would ask me to go and get rum for him, and I would always be telling him that that's not good for him. And so
Yeah,
from
you are protesting silently.
yes, yes. And so I was always ready to give um health tips or advice,
Mm.
not just natural health, but overall health. And so it's no surprise that I am a health educator. Um, I did studies at the master's level, health education. And so that actually propels me further to do health and wellness education.
Mm.
However, I must give credit to my medical missionary training, which is a program within our church as Seventh-day Adventist. And shout out to Dr. Leroy Daly and his wife, Sister Daly, and their family, and also my medical missionary family there in Boston and also New York, and the Eden's lifestyle, Eden Lifestyle Ministry. They have been one of my inspiration in doing this and also to continue sharing health and wellness
For the
information.
benefit of all listeners, explain how you link health education with um, Christianity. How do you make that link? Do you preach to them while you provide options for better health, or what do you do?
That's an awesome question, Wise Willie. And so health is not just physical. There are four main facets to health, and they are as follows. So there's the physical, the emotional slash mental. There's also the social and also the spiritual. And so as you talk about linking religious beliefs or Christianity
Mm.
to health and wellness information or education, it is not for me to push my religion or Christianity or my belief in Jesus on anyone, but it is for me to be wise. The Bible says, "He who wins a soul is wise," and so each and every week, each and every day that I get up and I interact with individuals, whether on the go or online, it is my desire and my aim to listen to God's voice through His Holy Spirit, to know how to relate to an individual, because I may relate to King Rocco in one way, and I may relate to you, Wise Willie, in another.
Mhm.
And you both have different needs, even if you're from the same household. And so
Yes.
with wisdom from God, I know how to relate um, to an individual. And yes, you have to be first interested in the person's physical well-being. So if they're hungry, don't tell them to go and come back. And I remember I
You've
was
got to
saying,
feed them.
yes. And I was saying to my husband over the weekend that, and this is so I'm writing a book, actually the second book, or journal, soon to be published by God's grace, Life's Nevers. And I was saying to my husband, never turn someone away, um, and never send them empty handed. If they come to you, there should be something that you should offer them, especially that they take the time to travel to see you, and they took the interest in you, approaching you more than anyone else out there in the street. Now we know that there are people who are scammers who, try to beg. They actually beg for a living, not for a living, but for gain. But
Mm.
you should have wisdom, the wisdom of God, to know how to respond to even the person who is to trying to abuse a situation.
But explain to our listeners, the the the, the Seventh-day Adventist sometimes displays a posture of healthy lifestyle along with Christianity, and you would get the feeling that healthy lifestyle is part of Christianity. How do you see it? I mean, I'm trying to probe.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
Go ahead.
see the relation between healthy lifestyle and Christianity? Is there a link?
So yes, there's a link, and you're right. We do promote healthy living. For one, we are the temple of God. We are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And so
Mhm.
whatever we put into our bodies, it's not even our bodies. What we have is loaned to us. So this
Mhm.
figure that we have is loaned to us by our creator God. And we have to give an account for what we do with our bodies. And the word of God says, I think it is in First John 1 or Second John, I'm not sure, remembering right now, but the Apostle John says that he wish above all that you will prosper, even as your soul prosper. So you prosper in good health, even
Mhm.
as your soul prosper. And
So
so,
really, really, we have a responsibility to keep the temple clean.
yes, we have sole responsibility,
Mhm.
because this is what we have every day. We have our
Yes.
bodies with us every day. It is our sole responsibility to take care of the temple, be good stewards of the temple of God, because he
Mhm.
dwells within us. We always talk about going to the temple, going to the
Mhm.
church.
Yes.
That's the building, the church
Yes.
building. It's church building. The church is God's people, and the building is a place.
But
And
if I
so,
if I am a janitor in the church,
mhm,
it's a noble job, right?
yes,
So
yes, yes.
therefore, I need to be a janitor in my own temple.
Amen. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that perspective. I love that perspective. So yes, we have to know what we look at, what we
Mhm.
listen to. We have to know what we eat. We have to know how we spend our time. God has given us a daily rest. That's why we have day and night.
Mhm.
And some people work at nights
Mhm.
because they are in the essential services. However, we have to take the night to rest. So there's the nightly rest. So once a day out of the 7 days we should rest. And then you have the weekly rest, which is the Sabbath, that once a week we should
We should
rest.
rest. Mhm.
And that's great for the circadian rhythm, which science has proven that those who take that 24 hours rest. So God knew what he was saying when he gave us the Sabbath at creation. And so it is for us to align ourselves with God, which that's the manual he gives us in the Bible, as the Bible, for us to align ourselves with the word of God, because he made us, as the word of God says. It is he that made us and not we ourselves. We are his people. And
And the
so
sheep
we
of
have
his
to,
pastures.
and the sheep of his pastor. You know Psalm 100.
Yes, yes. All right, this has been a very stimulating discussion. But I want now for us to move from Tanisha, the professional, to Tanisha, the human being. And I want you to tell me what's your favorite food?
Off the
The
top of my
food you
head,
love most. Yeah.
it's sweet and sour tofu.
Okay. And
Yes.
do you have a favorite author outside of the Bible?
So I I have many favorite authors, and you can talk about different spheres or different what do you call genre of of of
Genres?
right
Mm,
of literature. So
mhm.
yes, outside of the Bible, I do appreciate, from a spiritual perspective, I do appreciate Ellen G. White's writings. I remember as a child, I always read messages to young people that has helped me to develop as a young person and even into adulthood. And um, other than I've been listening a lot to Miles Monroe, even though he is now deceased, but his his work
He has
still
quite a
lives
volume
on.
of work.
Yes, his legacy continues, and
Hmm.
so I do appreciate those two um authors. Interestingly, they're both dead, right? But um, as he said that many people go to their graves full. Um, they did not unload their life's purpose, and they did not do what God has gave them to do. Like they he said the cemetery is the most wealthiest place or wealthy place on earth, and it is for us to live or God given purpose, and not to hide it, not to push it in the back. And I'm glad that I've taken the opportunity to be here on the radio program each week, because I know that it was drawing me out, and I have learned a lot. And I didn't say it to you, King Rocco, but I always admired the radio announcers as a child, and I did desire to be on the radio one day, and so to God
All
be the
right.
glory. It's
Wow.
happening.
That's really amazing, isn't it? And I must
Yes.
say to you, the feature that you send every week and stuff, like the feedback I've been getting, persons been really liking the information that you share. Personally for me, I would say, um, I've been learning a lot, because there's a lot of stuff sometimes that things that you may see, you may take it for granted, and the way you explain in depth in the health information, especially dealing with the different nuts and whatnot, etc. It is really meaningful.
Well,
I'm glad.
I got sidestepped a while ago because a call was coming in, and you know how Zoom operates.
Oh
When a
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
call
yeah, I
is
understand.
coming in, it pushes you off. But no, I enjoy your feature because I believe that the community of disabled people need information, and we
One hundred
can't get too
percent, one
much
hundred percent.
information. And
Nothing
a
is too much.
lot of us tend to sit down and feel sorry for ourselves rather than getting up and getting on with the job,
100%.
you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the features that you put forward, and boy, I would say to
Yes,
you, don't stop.
Thank you.
yes,
By
one hundred
God's
percent. I
grace.
totally agree.
Yes.
By
Uh,
God's grace, I will do it as long as I can.
yeah.
And I'm loving the feedback you're giving us to Wise Willy, as it relates to that individuals with disabilities
Mm.
tend to be laid back and think that they are so stricken with their disability that there's not much to do in life. And I applaud you both. um I know most of your listeners know that you're blind,
Oh,
and the
yes.
work that you do, I am so astonished.
Well, I
And
don't work anymore, I'm retired now.
what I'm
I'm
Well,
saying,
work at
I'm
UVC.
enjoying a life of retirement
wonderful.
while Rocco works.
Congratulations.
I am,
Congratulations. You're
but I
retired
used
Wow.
to,
but not retarded.
but I used to be in physiotherapy. I am a trained
Wonderful.
physiotherapist.
Wow.
And,
But I am I
and,
am
and
amazed.
also I'm a student of anatomy as well too.
Wonderful. But I'm amazed. And so one at some point there will be a feature that, because I will draw on my experience working with individuals with disabilities, so intellectual and physical
Hmm.
disabilities. So
It's
maybe one
important.
month we will focus on that.
It's
And
important.
shout out to our Professor Maggie Labella. I believe she's listening, and she has been one of those persons that is a cemented person in our lives. She's there in Massachusetts, and she taught us well in how to relate to people with disability at the North Shore Community College.
But let
So
us get
hats
back
off.
to the human side of Tanisha, because I'm not finished with you yet. Let's get back to the human side. You you love music. Do you love music?
I love music. So
All
I
right.
love gospel music. I love country music. Um, I do, because yes, I'm Jamaican, so I do love some of for reggae, like the reggae of the
Mm-hmm.
old time. So Bob Marley, music,
Mm-hmm.
going way back to those rich music that makes sense, or lyrics that make sense to
Yes.
our everyday living. And so yes, I do love those three genre of music.
If you were exiled on an island and you were only allowed to take one album, which album would it be?
Wise Willie.
I know that one would have you ducking. It's probably
No,
so many of them, but
no,
you can only choose one album.
just off the top of my head, as you talk about exile, One Love.
One no. Yes, yes, yes.
I remember I was in Boston. I was in Lynn, Massachusetts, to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the music of the legend Bob Marley, um, Emancipate Yourself from mental slavery,
Mm-hmm.
and One Love, and Three Little Birds.
Yes.
And that that put me in a place that I felt like I was back in Jamaica. I felt like there was hope. I felt like, because I didn't get to come home for a while. And when I heard that song or those songs, instantly that I connected with my culture. And
It makes a
I sometimes,
difference. You
it
you
does. It does.
yes,
And I
yes.
remember saying to my husband, I said, I believe that Brother Bob, I call him
Yeah.
Brother Bob, will make it into the kingdom of heaven, because
Oh yes.
I believe that his writings were inspired by God. Many of them, um, they were used by many freedom fighters all over the world, especially in the motherland,
Mm.
to bring about hope and freedom for us as Black people. And so, just off the top of my head, I would
All
choose
right,
One Love.
I'll go with that. Tanisha, we on this series, we always give our guests an opportunity to motivate. And you currently have an audience that consists of people who are disabled and people who are not disabled. What kind of motivation would you give them? I give you 5 minutes to just freely talk about some motivational points that you would like to leave with our listeners.
Thank you, Wise Willie. So I know that life life sometimes may not go the way we want it to go. Life expectancy, as in not just how many years we live, but what we put in between those years may not be what we want it to be. And many times we can tend to live with regrets about what was, what should have happened, what could have happened. But I'm encouraging you this evening that if you take the time to look away from what was, what could have happened, what should have happened, and look at what is happening right now. Don't miss this moment, because this moment is fleeting. This moment will go, it will come and go. And so be encouraged that where you are in your life's journey, in your situation that you may think there's no hope, there is hope. I can remember, so I live in a rural area in Jamaica, and I love Ackies. And when the pod opens, and we'll do a feature, we'll talk about it. We'll do a feature. When the pod opens, for those of you who may not know what Aki is, it's a fruit. It is actually Jamaica's national fruit. And I love that it is our national fruit because it gives me a hope. Whenever I see one ackee pod opens on a tree, I get hope because I know that there are many more pods because that will open because that's the precursor, that's the catalyst for the others. It's telling me that it is the season that the Akis will open. And so, like the Aki, your time is now that you are opening and you're opening wide. If you know the Aki, whenever it is ready, whenever it is open, it opens wide with a smile. However, it must never be forced open because then it is poisonous. So don't try to force your life back to the past. Live in the moment, understanding that your time has come to shine. And with God's help, you will go. You will go and you will go to leaps. You will make leaps and there will be no bounds to what God will do in your life. So don't settle in the past. The past is behind you. The future is ahead of you and the present is right here. Make the most of today because it's the one opportunity we have, which is today. Whatever you do today shapes. One author says, whatever you do today shapes what happens tomorrow. So think of it. What you do today will matter tomorrow. So make the most of today. Living your life without regrets. And yes, learn to forgive yourself. Let yourself off the hook and forgive yourself, knowing that God, your creator, He's willing to forgive you even before you ask for forgiveness. So who are you to not forgive yourself? Are you greater than your creator? Understand that you have a special purpose in this life. And by God's grace, you walk in your God-given purpose.
Tanisha, thank you ever so much for coming and chatting with us. It's been so inspirational, and we have learned a lot. And I thoroughly enjoyed this interview, and I hope it won't be the last one. Anytime you want to come on, feel free. Um,
Thank you so much. And since it's our anniversary month, I will
Yes.
definitely give you another
yes,
But
give you
before you do
another
that, where
visit.
persons could find you on the internet?
yes. Give us your contact.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube at Monday Meds. So Monday MEDZ Meds Health and Wellness Ministry, and I actually will post. I will post a video. We post a video every Monday as our
Mhm.
ministry started on a Monday, and you can also reach me via telephone, whether you want to call or WhatsApp 1-876-837-7758. So that's one
And
eight
how
seven
can they
six.
get hold of your first book? I know the second one isn't out yet, but the first book, where?
Well, the first book is not yet out.
Okay.
We're working on that. One of the things we need as a ministry, we need some sponsors and donors that we can help to push a lot of the
Yes,
projects that we have.
understand.
Yes.
Mm.
So thank you for allowing us the time to share the radio feature. We do want sponsors to help to promote the work that we're doing and to fund it. So for those of you out there who would love to partner with us, we're looking for at least 10 monthly partners. You can contact us whether you want to give via Cash App or PayPal or Zelle, or if you're locally, you want to do a bank transfer, you can contact us. Our email address is Monday Meds. So Monday, MEDZ 777@gmail.com. You can
And
also find us.
when you find 10, send at least one our way.
Yes, and that's part of why we need sponsors, because we know that UVC Radio wants to expand and we want to expand with you. So
Yes.
definitely we will. We will do that. King
Yeah.
Wise Willy. We will do that. But
Yes,
yeah,
thank you
so
ever so much, Tanisha. And King David, who was in the background there listening, we really appreciate you, and we
You know
thank
what? Let me
you.
say this.
We thank you
Maybe
for giving
probably we need to
Tanisha
get King David
permission.
in there sometime too, Willie.
yes,
King
I
King
believe you
King
should. You
David,
should
we need to have him
interview
on
him.
one day.
Yes, so you can tell him that, because he has a wealth of, he has a whole lot more than I do. And I
We need to
must
get him.
tell you that I must say it to my husband publicly. Thank you so much, honey, for taking the time and for understanding. Because sometimes when I do the videos, the editing and all of that, especially for the radio feature on a Monday, I have to lose some sleep overnight.
Mhm.
and and
I appreciate it.
sometimes it can be uncomfortable for him. And so thank you for making that sacrifice, even though it's like
Appreciate it,
it's
man.
yes, yes. So
Yeah.
I appreciate love you, David George Lawrence, and thank you for partnering with us. And I know that God will continue to be with us. And yes, one day you should invite him also to be on the
Oh, we
program.
will soon. It won't be no one day. It will be soon.
Soon. All right.
Awesome,
All right.
because he has a lot of, I call him Dr. Lawrence or Professor Lawrence, because he has a wealth of knowledge. And for those of your listeners, I know you have listeners in Mexico. My husband did remind me that today it's Feliz Cinco Mayo.
Yes, the Mexican Day.
Yes, and he was
Mm,
actually giving me that background to how how significant this day is, that the Mexicans won their battle against the French
yes.
on this day some decades ago, or
Mm,
years ago. And so yes, definitely I sanction that you have him on one of these days. And
yes.
All right, then.
thank you for having me on, talking with you and your listeners. And I look forward to greater things this month and beyond.
Yeah, man. You
Appreciate
take
that,
care
sister.
and all the best.
God bless you.
So, listeners, we have come to the end of today's program. It has been a stimulating program. I trust you have enjoyed it.